Well, welcome again. Um, my name's Ben. It's keeping this channel pretty much as a placeholder for Carol's needing a meeting. That's why it meets at the same time. Uh, and after all that, my mic was off. Oh my gosh. Oh well. My name's Ben. This is a placeholder for Carol Sherman's needing a meeting, or Carol at needing a meeting. I was hoping my vision for this was just to give a place for people to meet, just to kind of give them a place to interact. Um, if they had issues going on while Carol was getting back up to speed. At least that's how I started out with this, and that's the purpose of it. Really, is just to kind of give people a place where they can meet, since needing a meeting's on being paused right now. Um, yeah. Oh, it's always a learning experience. Yeah, it's always quite interesting. I was digging into ADHD, and I ran into some things which I found to be very interesting. I was reading a lot of research papers, a couple from Harvard, I think one or two from Stanford. And one of the problems you run into reading research papers, a lot of times you need, okay, now I need a paper to explain the paper kind of thing. So I did some digging and found some videos, and I found it really fascinating, some of the stuff we now know about ADHD. Well, it turns out that obesity is more common in ADHD people or people with ADHD, and this led for a study, and there is a point to this. Uh, they found that people with ADHD have the processing reward is. I mean, there are a few factors, but one of their reward processing is a little skewed, and this comes into account with food. Because what happens is they actually get a lower reward, lower satisfaction for food than your normies. And then altered, and then there was another issue that came up. Sorry, I got a lot on my brain. I'm just trying to slow down. um, that's amped up in ADHD, and one of those is you have the amygdala, which are two parts about the size of almonds in your brain, and the amygdala is connected to the limbic system. Okay, there's a point to this. The limbic system controls it controls emotions. And we find that in ADHD, there is what they call emotional dysregulation. And that comes out to be that people with ADHD tend to feel emotions more intensely. And I keep using the term all, but no, the people they studied. And so what happens is with the amygdala, uh, that's all the amygdala and the limbic system, that's all amped up, doubled. And what they found is, like, you could have two people, similar people, or it could be explained like this. You have two people, similar temperaments and everything. And one person will use the example of the D bag in the truck who cuts you off and gives you a finger. To a normie, a person without ADHD, what this would do is it'd make them a little ticked, or it might make them a little ticked for, say, 2 minutes. Okay. To a person with ADHD, it would make them very ticked for 4 minutes. So, okay, you have that. So you have that part of the brain, and then you have the accumbens, the, the this part of the brain. I can't say the name right. That regulates the reward center, and basically what happens is it comes in. You have a stimulus. It comes into the nebulous accumbens. I never can say that name, and that develops dopamine, which then regulates pleasure, craving, and behavior reinforcement. What that is, basically, you get pleasure from the dopamine, you get a craving for it because you've now had that instance. So you now have a craving for it, and you get emotional reinforcement for it. Well, what they find, that craving part, that is doubled in ADHD people as well. So what this leads to is you have one person who craves a cookie, and that this is the exact example that was raised on the video. You have a person who craves a cookie; they'll eat the cookie, they'll feel satisfied by it. For the person with ADHD, first of all, the craving is amped up, so they have double the craving. They eat the cookie, they only get half the satisfaction of it, meaning they would have to eat 4 cookies to make up to be as satisfied as that one person without ADHD. Okay, so you have that going on. But then on top of it, part of that limbic system, you have emotional dysregulation where people feel emotions more intently. And there's a further issue that they have to where people who have ADHD, and sometimes they get diagnosed with ADHD just for having that emotional dysregulation. A lot of times they don't realize they're having negative emotions. What they might feel sometimes, how do I say this? You would get disconnected from your feelings. Instead of feeling the exact emotion of anger, sadness, whatever, you have those feelings, but you tend to ignore them. And then what would happen is that then you would think, well, I just feel pressure. I have all these feelings. I just, you don't even think about that. You just think I feel pressure. Well, that's part of the problem is people who are having negative emotions. That is then that whole food example is doubled again. So yeah, that hello, Christy. Um, that whole situation would be doubled again. So you'd have like your normie who can eat 1 cookie and be satisfied by it. You have your ADHD person who's happy. He has to eat 4 cookies. Well, the person who's ADHD and unhappy would have to eat 8 cookies to get the same amount of satisfaction from it. And I was just amazing. But the short of it, basically, to to overrule this, and this is something that we see in American, well, actually just in society in general, is because you get much less satisfaction from eating, the way to overcome it is mindful eating, where you eat slower and you appreciate the food. And what that will do is that will raise the amount of satisfaction you feel from that food. And and what we see in culture, especially like if you go to a movie theater, you'll get a big thing of popcorn and you start eating it, but you're watching a movie. You aren't paying attention to what you're eating. You're not getting any reward. Your brain isn't telling your body you're getting any reward for it. And it's just because you're not paying attention. Well, it's like that to somebody with ADHD on top of it. So, yeah, you just need to take time and just uh, relax and enjoy your food. And then to overcome one of the other things that comes up, rather, is a lot of times we ADHD people, they tend to disassociate themselves from their feelings, and that's a big term, but it basically means you're not paying attention. So the way to overcome that, again is mindfulness. Journal. You sit down, and it's the same thing for daily. It's just basic daily emotional management, journaling, walking, spending time in nature, grounding, all the same things that work on trauma will work on this. So that is something to where it was kind of it struck me as odd because you can be going along in your attention, a way to derail it into mindfulness to get off of your impulse, your path of being impulsive. The way that they're teaching is to basically do mindfulness, and part of that would be journaling, of listening to yourself, um, and just taking time to be mindful in some of the things we have around us. But yeah, it was really just a fascinating article. And they're basically finding that kids with ADHD are 4 times more likely to be obese now. Um, and yeah, the solution basically is just to savor food, and that's pretty much the root of everything that they have. Kids with ADHD, it's just these minor problems, but because one thing multiplies the other, it constantly adds up. Um, but yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much the things I was digging into. If anybody has anything they want to discuss, please just um, if anybody has anything they want to discuss, please let me know. I realize there's only a couple people in here. Of course, there's also I realized after I set this up, I keep saying I realize over and over again. I realized after I set this up that there was a stream with Reese going on too. So it's like, well, okay. But yeah, I'll just go ahead and create this. I already made the meeting and all that. So I'll go ahead and open it up to see if anybody has anything they want to discuss. Um, but yeah, so it's just, and I can see one of the other factors too, and I found this to be really discouraging. I have ADHD. I was doing better with it until I started getting weight gain, and at the time, it was just my liver reacting to. It was just my liver reacting to having too much iron. But now I also see that there's something in the fat molecule which blocks this chemical that that helps also the reward center. So you have again, there's a multiplication factor on top of everything else. So yeah, it can be really brain derived neurotropic factor, stimulates growth of neurons. Basically, it's neuroplasticity. If you have fat issues, it tends to be a block or stop the production of that chemical. So yeah, it seems like ADHD is really the cause of so many problems. Cosmic, how you doing? Oh, let me see you get your volume up here. Oh, okay. I guess we're waiting for you. Oh my. Oh, the joys of technical issues. I swear. I don't really don't see how streamers can do it. I just really don't. It takes a special kind of person to be able to do the whole monologue thing, and I never realized how specific that skill set is. But yeah, it definitely takes somebody special to be able just to monologue, because essentially, without interaction, you're pretty much talking to yourself. And yeah, that is something I got to say that yeah, I admire people who do have that as a skill set. But yeah, you can see how so much of today's society is also pressuring people to, and it wouldn't help with somebody with ADHD. We're always being commercials are pretty much all geared towards making you compare yourselves to other people and to convince you that you're not happy and that you can't be happy until you buy this, buy that. So yeah, that is gosh darn, that is just the ADHD thing was a lot more than I had anticipated. But at least it's one of those things. Uh, you never, when you find out what's kind of wrong with you, it's kind of a relief to find out. But he explains why, at least in my case, explains why my ADHD is worse because I started gaining weight from my liver being thrashed. That now that is, I thought it was just the fatigue from that, but from my condition. But turns out, well, it could be the fatigue, and it could also be because I stopped losing weight because your liver isn't letting you lose weight anymore. That's adding to the problem. So, but the prognosis is still good. I mean, it doesn't change the solution. That's still on path. Um, and with ADHD, the big thing to remember is to try to get fatty omega threes. One of the big killers is red meat. Try to cut as much carbs out as you can, sugar. But yeah, okay. So I think we got volume this time from you, Cosmic. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. It's kind of a
Is there an echo? Because I've got it everything differently because my headphones weren't working.
oh, nice.
Is it working?
I'm
Is
sorry.
there
What
an
was?
echo?
No,
Echo,
I
echo.
don't. I don't hear much of an echo.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't echo, echo, echo.
Yeah, I've got two screens
So
now.
how?
It's very tricky.
Mm, so the sun coming up where you're at, or?
Oh, yeah, but not in
Mm,
here because it's dark. But
mm,
I've got my morning
well,
coffee, my flask because I'm camping.
oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, I learned
But
how to
yeah,
drink coffee without sugar in
mm,
the hospital.
well, I was kind of surprised at how many.
Bonus.
I was really surprised at how many things I was reading on ADHD were feeding exactly into what you were talking about: disassociation, impulse control, uh, emotional. I mean, all of it. It's like, wow, this is all this. So it's like, wow, I can kind of relate a lot more than I thought I could. I mean, I did not necessarily have everything that you have, but it's like, wow, this helps me appreciate where cosmic is at. And it's like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah,
But
well, it's I think people with ADHD do have a tendency to overreact to a lot of
mm,
things. I don't know if overreaction is quite the right term because feelings are valid, whatever they are. But when your feelings overtake everything, that's when they start to become a problem, and they're becoming a problem for me now. So,
yeah,
um, but people with ADHD, I think they're quite often going to have things like, especially untreated, like the borderline personality disorder
mm,
or oppositional defiance disorder, which as an adult gets into
mm.
the pathological avoidance
No,
disorder.
yeah,
It all there's so much that stems from untreated
mm,
neurodivergence that I think it should be something that they look into
yeah,
more. They should look into it a
yeah,
bit more, instead of it just being, oh, this kid's autistic, let's put them in, do this course and get them to fit into
mm,
society, which I don't think is a very handy way to do things. Like, why should we fit
mm,
in? Um, we're a part of society. We should get to be whoever we
mm. Yeah, yeah. It is. It is surprising that some of the treatment is so far behind of what we think it would be at this point. Uh oh.
are.
Uh oh.
I was
All
actually
right.
saying that to my friend yesterday. Like,
Hmm. Uh-oh. May have frozen up. Yep. Oh, wow. Oh, the joys of technology. I used to always use the term, what was it, Mercury in retrograde, but don't really have that excuse anymore. Oh, well, if anybody else has anything they want to discuss while we're waiting to get Christy back, please just let me know in the chat. Um, I am glad that Carol gave us that message. She looks like she's doing so much better, and I'm so thankful to that. Yeah, I'm so thankful for that because she's really a great person, and it's good to see her feeling good again. So, yeah, um, and I realized too that Reese has a meeting going on or a interview going on too. So, yeah. Oh, you're back.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I've got so many devices in here. It might be that it's too many because I've got my big. I've actually downgraded to a 55-inch screen TV.
Hmm.
For my mate for a screen, and then I've got my original computer screen here. So it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ooh, yes. So I've never had two screens before. Not like
Hmm.
my own personal setup. So this is pretty
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
nice actually. But and
Yeah.
also I get to watch movies in bed. So I watched Inside Out yesterday because I was a horror.
Hmm.
So, that was pretty cool. I've got Furiosa to watch later, so it's a good day for the movies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I find that once you have two monitors, it's like, how the heck did I exist before? Of course, now with everything else and with the way my brain's working, I pretty much use one just to hold all temp files, and I throw them where you're not supposed to on the middle of your desktop because, well, it's there, you know.
Well, my things are much like my screen. My tabs, my brain is much like my tabs. Always, I've got so many different things open, and I get distracted by, oh my gosh, I haven't looked at that one for a while. Let's look at that. So that's
Mm,
basically how my brain works.
yeah.
So, but trying to figure out now how to change the colors on my fan. So I'm using
Mm.
AI. So I just ask AI a question. Hi, Misha.
Hi,
um,
hi, awakened.
yeah. So but I also going back to the ADHD thing because I remember what I was talking about now. Oh, yeah, the disassociation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I explained what disassociation feels like to my carer, my best friend, and I said you probably understand it more than you think,
Mm.
um, because like I think she does just disassociate because she has to get through all the stuff that she gets through because she's not just my carer; she looks after everybody, and so I think sometimes you kind of you have to disassociate when you're a carer. Like I certainly did. I put everything I needed to do for myself aside for my children, and
Mm.
years later I'm paying for it. But so
Yeah.
that's one of the things I keep trying to say to Mel. She needs to rest. There's carers burnout that happens, and um, I try my best not to contribute to the burnout, even though
Yeah.
lately contributing.
Mm.
So yeah. But yeah, oh my gosh, my hair is so messy. I only just got up, so yeah, squirrels. But yeah, so but I think people would understand ADHD a little better if they recognize that we all have a little bit of a capacity to
Yeah.
shift focus and all that sort of stuff within a second. So when um, when you do that yourself and you times it by a million, that's kind of like what it's like to be a ADHD person. But if they just look into it themselves a little, you'll see
Mm-hmm.
that we're all a little bit more neurodivergent than we think. You have to
Yeah.
actually there's a diagnosis for neurotypical. You can be
Yeah.
diagnosed neurotypical, and I thought, wow, it just makes it's generally young girls. They're just the typical young girl. They're like Barbie. They want to play, dress ups, and all that sort of stuff. All the typical things you think of as a standard little girl. That's a
Mm-hmm.
neurotypical girl. But I think I don't know why you get diagnosed with that. Like my kid's too normal. I'm gonna want to go see what the problem is. So,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but there seems to be a diagnosis for everything. So,
Oh,
and
yeah.
sometimes I feel like I am all of them. So
Mm,
it's a bit like horoscopes in the newspaper. Any one of them could relate to anything on any day because
mm.
it's meant to be, for the wide yes bird, so the wider group, so it can't be defined into one little thing. Anyway, they're
Mm,
mostly made up. Some person, the last copywriter, has to make them up in the newspapers and magazines. So,
mm.
but
Uh,
yeah,
no, yeah, and it is. It was really fascinating to dig into it because it's something like you were saying. I think probably everybody. Yeah, you said it really well. Everybody has the capacity for it, probably. And it's just you know, just everybody likes to think that they don't have it, that they're normie, and well, is there really such thing in existence anymore? Who knows? But yeah,
come
gosh,
on. I'm
oh,
good. I'm not very good at focusing your conversation.
and it. I used to always enjoy the superpower, or the what I used to get the superpower from it, the ability to focus. I used to be able so intently to do one thing, and you couldn't take me off task, but man, I could do that one thing. I could really dig in. But if you distracted me, then yeah, it was all going to hell in a handbasket. But yeah, but
Yeah, I can hyper focus, but because that's part of ADHD is, and also autism is hyper focus. So, say
mm,
I'm reading a really good book. Well, I haven't read a book for a while because I can't focus enough. But if I was reading a really good book back in the day, or I'm concentrating on something, nothing else. I can't hear anything else. You have to be right up in my face saying my name, and it's
mm,
generally so loud by the time I'm paying attention. I'm like, what? I always feel like it's just they've been trying to get my attention like for 20 minutes or something. I'm just there like, it's just I just can't hear anything else. I get to the point
yeah,
where nothing else exists. But
mm,
another thing where the ADHD, if I stop doing that task halfway through to go get a
mm,
drink or something like that, I'll get distracted and start doing something else, and I might never ever come back to that task ever.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
learning how to finish tasks is something that's really important. Like tasks for myself, because I followed things through as far as my kids were concerned because you had to, you know.
mm,
But for myself, it's like can't be bothered. I'll just watch another YouTube video
mm.
nowadays. So, but yeah,
What do you have problems if something doesn't hold your interest? It does get a lot harder to. Okay, so it's not just me then.
no, like if I find it really boring, I'm done.
Yeah,
Like, and that's with conversations too. Like if I find them really, not even really boring, if it's just something out of my wheelhouse, or you
yeah,
know, I'll start to think about other stuff, and I'll lose my place in the conversation, and then I have to listen to try and get my way back in. So
mm.
a lot of the times I tend to listen more than I talk. Doesn't seem
Oh,
like it on here, but
oh,
um, but when I'm around new people and stuff, you have to kind of listen to sort of see what they want to talk about, or what their interests are, so that I can then see if any of mine align, and then if they do, then I can. That's a start for a conversation.
mm,
For someone who's extremely introverted, I seem to be quite extroverted in conversation and wanting to know about people. Um, because I'm like in hospital, I was going around talking to everybody all the time. Just because I wanted to know why, not why they were there. I wanted to know about them and whatever. And so I'll talk. And there was one particular person in there who didn't talk very much, and I apologized because I talk excessively when anxious. And they went, "No, don't worry about it because it's nice to listen to someone." And I
mm.
think there's a thing where wherever I go, I have to put on a bit of a show, a bit of a mask to not let them see who I actually am because I don't even know really. But the mask is there to um, it's adaptable. So whoever I'm talking to, different mask, different mask, different mask. So one person I could be talking to about gaming, a gaming mask on, my favorite mask by the way, and then I could be talking to someone about motherhood. My motherhood mask is on, and lots of
Mm,
mothers don't really like gaming. So, there's a whole thing you got to go through compartmentalizing who you are into being acceptable. It's kind of like that shifting face, how
mm,
that person has multiple faces. It's kind of like that shifting face up to whoever you have to talk to at the time, you know.
mm,
So it's led me to be now that I'm starting to understand that I've been so shifting faces so much, which is from one of the things is never ending story. um, but that shifting face thing is there, so it's been there so long. I don't know which face is mine, or even if I have to take the whole thing off and then my face is there, and I don't even know what that is. So
mm.
therapy, I'm moving on to therapy. So
Yeah. I'm kind of curious. I'm trying to remember too, if I could ever. Do you find like Awaken that you were able to multitask at one time?
I was never able to multitask. I think that's all a
Mm,
lie because I can only ever do one thing at a time. If for me, anyway.
yeah.
So if I'm thinking about something else, the thing that I'm meant to be doing, I can't do it. So like the
Mm,
other day, I was saying I was play acting at being human because I had to remember to do what I needed to get out of the car, what I needed to get out of the car. So and
mm,
I couldn't forget and go back and forth because I didn't have the energy, and also, I wanted to be normal for a change because
yeah.
just you know I know people say we don't. We, it's good to not be normal, but sometimes you just want to be because it's
Yeah.
easier. It seems easier, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll play act at what I'm supposed to do. So if I have to go into the kitchen to make a coffee, I'll be like, all right, that's my job now. Going to the kitchen, make a coffee. I actually didn't
Mm,
realize that was something that I did until I got out of hospital and I was trying to actively think about what I'm thinking about.
mhm,
um,
mhm.
and I was like, okay, well, this is a weird. When did this start? But it's so natural. It must be a thing that happens all the time. But I don't actually have an inner voice.
Mm,
I don't have that voice inside your head that tells you stuff. Um, which I did because then I might shut my mouth a lot more and not say the inappropriate things. Because my inner voice is my outer voice. It's the one
mm.
that talks out loud. So I'm constantly talking to myself. Um, spinning plates. Yeah, spinning plates. That's
Yeah.
kind of what it feels like. And if you focus too much on one plate, all the other plates drop.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, that's the way I'd find it. That's the way it is for me now. I was remembering back when I was a kid, and I don't know if it'd be true multitasking. I just remember playing, and this is 8-bit. I mean, 8-bit Space Invaders. So there wasn't really a whole lot going on. It's still, a lot of it's muscle memory, but playing Space Invaders and being able to hold a conversation at the same time. I know for a fact I could not do something active like that and hold the conversation now. I might be able to do a car driving game. I might be able to do that and talk at the same time, but yeah.
I find that's like so it's so relaxing. Those
Mhm.
car games, like they're so relaxing, especially because I play them. I it's That's part of it. That's how I actually drive. So for me, and driving is my actual it's my
Mm,
calming thing. Like like I said, I think I said it yesterday, but if I get above a certain level, I know that I probably shouldn't drive. But when I'm a bit agitated and all this stuff, I'll go for a drive. It has to be at least half an hour, 40 minutes. Turn my
mm,
music up really, really loud, and just blast and sing all the way to wherever I'm going. And that's all I think about because I'm playing my game,
mm.
driving, and focusing on what I'm supposed to be doing. And I think
Yeah.
being a gamer has actually prepared me for driving because I'm always looking for like a death claw or or something like that. Please, so death claw from Fallout. Yeah, or just something. I'm always looking,
Mhm.
because and it's something that I think they should develop more proper games for
Mm.
driving, like based on the rules of wherever you're driving,
Yeah.
and kids do that. And I think the actual driving, teaching kids to drive wouldn't be so bad as long as you incorporate the actual rules in there.
Mm.
So that they fail if they break a law. So
No, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's kind of how we do our driving tests over here. It's all on the computer, and then you
Oh,
watch all
no
these
kidding.
videos. And yeah,
Oh.
you've got a year to do it as well. So you do you have to go through all these different modules, and then once you've passed all the modules enough,
Mm.
then you can do the test, and then you've got like a year to do it. So you pay like $27, and you've got a year to get your license.
Oh.
And when you get your license, it's like $120 or something like that. Well, I don't know. It's been a while. Mine,
Mm.
yeah, I haven't actually. Yeah, but it's like I think that's something that's important, and it actually would help people, especially with neurodivergencies, understand that driving is not as scary as what you think it is. Because one
Mm.
of the reasons I didn't drive for very like until like I think it was must have been 2018. So that's when I first started driving, and I got my license a year later. So I haven't been driving very long, like since I was 39, like by myself, and a lot of that was because I was so scared because it's been drilled into me how dangerous cars are. They're a deathly piece of machinery, and you've got to be really careful. And actually, fast driving was used against me as an abuse tactic
Mm.
because it's scary. You know, when I start to get scared because I'm not in control. I don't know where they're going to turn, what they're going to do, so it starts to scare me. And even now, I'm a passenger, and if I'm not in control of the brake, I get a bit scared because I always think everyone gets a little too close to the car in front of them. Trust your brakes too much.
Mm.
You know, so and that's something that actually scares me. But you if you incorporate that into regular schooling, um, a lot of people would be a lot less scared. So
Mm. Oh yeah. And I mean, because I know that this is. I was trying to figure out just now because you brought up the driving example, like you do it. Do you find that you have to occupy yourself a little bit and then you can operate fine? I'm trying to figure out where that level is of where you need to do a little bit to help you where you need to do a little bit over here to help you focus on this, and where it becomes a distraction. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what that level is.
well, if it takes you away from what you're meant to be doing for like more than 10
Yeah.
minutes or 20 minutes, I'd
Mm.
say that becomes a distraction.
Mm.
Unless, of course, you need a break because um, you can't just focus on one thing, um, so heavily and not give your brain a bit of a rest and your body because you'll find that when you're so focused, you'll tense up because you're focused. And if you keep
Mm.
up that, you'll start to become sore. Um, and so you've kind of got to give yourself a break. I don't know, my watch tells me to stand up every once an hour. So,
Mm.
that's a good time to have a bit of a quick break and stand up, shake it off. Although I don't. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, right, Rog. I don't feel like stand up right now.
Mm.
You can cheat it. But it's a good way of keeping yourself like I don't know, able to keep going longer because you're giving your brain a bit of a rest.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that one was kind of interesting. And I know some people listen to ADHD music, and Um, that
That's
helps them.
exactly what I do, Misha.
Mm.
Although I've learned to be a lot less distracting as far as to the driver because I recognise that when I'm anxious, I make the driver a bit more anxious because they're
Mm.
wondering what's the matter. Like if I'm gasping and gaping, every 5 seconds, and they'll be like, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" And then they're more focused on the road. So I'm like I'm gently like I'll do the brake, but hopefully no one's actually noticing. So,
Mm.
um, but that's taken a long time, to
Mm.
get to that stage. But there's only a few people I can drive with where I'm just relaxed and don't really have to worry about putting my foot on the brake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one thing I've actually always did pretty good at. Um, but I think that's also I think the self-destructive tendencies can kind of enter in there too. It's like, hi, you want to do this? Let's do it. I don't care. Of course, now I do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, but yeah, made me so nervous. Kept telling him you're going to make me wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some people can really. Oh my gosh. And it's one thing too to listen to. I find that sometimes when I'm looking for an address, looking for something, I have to turn the radio off if I have it, cranked up. It's one thing to drive with it, digga, 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 yeah, ah! You're doing
Yeah,
that, and
turn
you're
it
doing
down so you
fine.
can see better.
Yeah, but the second you have to like slow down. Okay, I'm looking for a mailbox. You have to turn it off because it's overloading my brain. Um,
Yeah, I do that. I'm like, everyone shush, I need to drive. I need to park. But it's
hmm,
also a concentration thing. So and parking still doesn't come naturally to me. So like when I've actually disassociated a few times and couldn't I forgot how to park. I forgot like I got to the car park and I started to turn and it was more about spatial awareness. I think I lost all spatial awareness. Like it's
hmm,
pretty bad now, but it was like non-existent. Obviously, when I disassociate, that's when I'll trip over things and all that sort of stuff. But when I was driving, I just got to the car park and I just forgot, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go home. I probably shouldn't be at the shops today. If I don't know how to
hmm,
park, if I've forgotten how to
hmm,
park, then I probably shouldn't be out driving.
yeah,
Um, And so I just drove home, which was like half an hour home. So I'm just like, no, not doing this today. It's the equivalent of like leaving the shopping trolley or shopping cart in the supermarket because you just can't deal anymore.
hmm. Yeah. And that's one thing I'm realizing that it was one of the things that you mentioned earlier. I think it was yesterday. You had talked about that you had to make a list for a shopping list. I'm getting to that point now because yeah, I go in. It's like okay, before I used to be able to tell myself, okay, I'm going to get cheese, cream, coffee, cheese, cream, coffee, cheese, cream, coffee. I'd repeat that over and over in my head. But now if I go cheese, cream, coffee, oh, they have that album over there. Oh, that's interesting. And it's like, hey, snack cakes. Okay, yeah, now I'll buy this and I forgot cheese, cream, coffee. Mm, yeah, so
Yeah, I do that.
yeah.
So and half the time I forget my list. So there's only a few things that I remember on there, and I always forget the most important thing. So, but
Hmm.
you just got to learn to do things that help you along the way, like keep
Yeah.
keep the shopping list with you, or keep. Like, that's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do now. Is always have something with a pocket, so I can keep my shopping list in my pen in my pocket, so that I can just take it out and be like, "That's what I need," and then when I go to the shops, it's right here.
Yeah.
So it's just about doing things that help you be a bit more successful. So,
Yeah, that I am so bad to get distracted now. And I realize it's not I'm thankful that um I'm thankful that I know it will return to towards a little easier to control once I'm able to lose weight. But it's still it's been fascinating to me to see how because I know a lot of people have a lot worse than I do, and now I just look at them. I'm holy crap, you operate like this all the time, and you're still functional. Like how in the flipping hell do you do it? Like wow, that takes. I mean, I can see that just being tiring. It's like wow, that takes so much mental control to constantly because you're battling this demon in your head. It's just kind of oh look at this, look at that, look over there. Oh that's different. All right, check this out. And I'm like wow, oh my
well, what
gosh.
makes you saying is actually quite interesting because the supermarket's actually built for distraction. So the thing that they want you to buy is always going to be at eye level. The thing they
Mhm.
want kids to buy is going to be at children's eye level. um, and everything else is up high or whatever. But that's paid for as well. Like the like Kellogg's, they'll be at the adult healthy ones,
Mhm.
adult eye height, which is like here for me. So, but and all the ones that Kellogg's like Cocoa Pops and all that sort of stuff tend to be at children's height, which is
Yeah.
they tend to make it just depends on the food and also the thing because there's babies in shopping trolleys or toddlers and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. They get pushed around, and it's I'm sure things are built so those kids can just put stuff in the trolley and get to the thing and you go zoop 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 knocking things through and you don't even realize that you end up with like I don't know. Depends.
Hmm.
His kid's like, yeah, please, Mum. I don't know, but it's happened before. Like, I've ended up with all these different random things because my kids are very annoying when I was going shopping.
Oh yeah.
So I'd be like, stop doing that, doop, doop. And then, like, talking to the lady, whatever, and then get home, I've got all these things that I don't even need. So, hi Shannon. But yeah, talking about frequencies that Misha was before, I can't handle things that are high pitched. I feel like I can hear electricity
Mm.
when someone turns the TV on. Like if the TV is on in the room next door and turn right down, I can still tell when it gets turned on because I can hear the electricity in my ear. It's like a, and I can't handle
Oh
it. But
yeah.
I've learned now that to adapt, and I put my fan on, or I've got rain music I have on all the time because then I don't hear
Mm.
everything going around.
Hmm.
Because now I'm sort of outside. There's no, you know, um, what insulation or sound stopping you getting through.
Oh yeah.
Um, Outside sounds are very loud, um, and so there's like who's walking around my tent, but
Yeah.
it's never anything. It's just like cracking or whatever. Hi Shannon.
How you doing, Shannon?
I'm doing good.
Oh, that's good. You look very pleasant. But yeah, that I just the more I have this in my head, it's like how how are you people? I mean, they're talking about ADHD and the propensity for kids to possibly get obese with it because of all this other stuff, and it's thinking, how in the heck do they? How in the heck are they all not skinny with how much energy it takes to do anything? I mean, God, gotta stay focused. Gotta stay focused. Gotta stay focused. Oh my gosh, it's exhausting. It really.
I'm so jealous of people that are so skinny.
Mm.
I am so jealous. Yay, you have a ranch. Yay, Misha.
Yeah. Oh.
So I've missed it. How are you doing, Ben?
Oh. Not doing too bad. Um. Kind of tired, but I did do. I think Tommy's talked about it a little bit. Um. I'm still trying to figure out why it works. I did this one thing where I sat in the infrared sauna, which of course gets you extremely hot. Then you go and I bought a bunch of ice, threw it in a tub, cold water, and would go back and forth. And yeah, it is searing cold. I mean, it is, but you do that, and yeah, it gives you a dopamine hit, which is like okay, but I mean, how long is that going to last?
Right.
But I'm doing it just to kind of put my body through something, because I know that that's supposed to help with some of the issues I have. The thing I'm trying to figure out is how I know that is a treatment they use for self harm, cutters,
Oh, okay.
and they're having a lot of success with it. And it's like, how? I mean, I have no doubt that it's working, but it's like, how? I mean, does the dopamine hit
Well,
last a lot
maybe.
longer than I think? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Well,
maybe
I can
it
tell you.
just stimulates. Maybe it just,
Hmm.
stimulates some of those, and it puts your mind in a different place, right?
Yeah.
Instead
Well,
of
that's exactly right.
constantly,
As someone who has
yeah,
that particular affliction, I guess you
yeah,
could call it, the only time that ever really happens is when I'm so out of my mind
Hmm.
that I need something to myself to bring me back.
Yeah.
Um, but I never do it around people. It's not an attention thing. Well, I try not to. Like I have to be totally out of my mind if I do it in front of somebody.
Hmm.
Um, but it does, and I now do the hot and cold showers. I always start off warm because I can't handle cold really, but
Hmm.
I start
I
off
don't
really warm
like the cold
and then I
too.
go to like, as hot as I can handle, go to cold, and it's like it takes you out of the space that you were in. It's because you're like shocked back into your own self,
Hmm.
I don't know if it's dopamine. It might be because I don't know if I get dopamine from actually doing it. It doesn't make me
Yeah.
feel better in any
Hmm.
sense. It's um, in fact when I come out of it, I'm like, oh my god, what have I done? Because I'm someone I fainted, but
It
Yeah.
doesn't sound
I'm just
pleasant, right? But neither does self harm. Neither, So in a way, maybe it's doing something to the body that the self harm does because in a way, you're just shocking the body in a way that self harm might also. I mean, that's
Hmm.
just a guess, just my amateur, guessing. Like sometimes
Well, that's
you just need to be
it's
out
quite
of this headspace into this headspace over here. You know.
yeah, and there's lots of different versions that people do of self harm. I just think that one is quite extreme. Hurting yourself. I've got a friend. She does tattoos whenever she's having an emotional time. She'll go and self harm because it hurts.
Hmm.
To have a tattoo. She calls it her version of self harm. Um, because that's how she gets through things. She goes and gets another tattoo. She's running out of space. She's starting to cover stuff. um,
Mm.
things that actually cause her, a bit of misery now because she goes back to that time. She's got a really good tattoo artist, and they cover it up with with now thoughts rather than 20 years ago thoughts.
Mm.
So I think it's a beautiful way of coping, coping through art.
Right.
Um,
So, I mean, I guess I missed it. Is cutting what you do? Is that your self harm? Because that's the one I've heard of most. Are people that
yeah,
cut? They say it's
yeah.
supposed to release the pain somehow, but really, it's just kind of giving yourself physical pain to change it out of mental pain. I think. Mm.
Hmm.
Well, I don't think I feel it. I'm so out of it at that stage. There is no pain. So
Oh,
I don't know.
Hmm.
oh,
I don't
okay.
know if it does. Yeah, it's a really strange thing, what the mind can do when you're so, everything. But it's something. Yeah, I have to be quite extreme for it to happen. Life has to be pretty extreme.
Mm.
So I know I need to start getting some help and reaching out and all that sort of stuff. So, um,
Hi, Jason.
but yeah, but the shower thing. That's something I learned in DBT.
Hmm.
Also, because I have meltdowns quite frequently at the moment, emotional regulation issues, and so the when I was starting to zone out, the one thing I did remember was ice here, like cold here, cold on the back
Hmm.
of your neck.
Hmm.
Does something to your vagus. It does something. I think it does something. Does something in some particular part of your brain that was explained. I've totally forgotten. Um, but it resets. It's like a reset
Yeah.
type thing. Yeah, so you kind of
I
get back
didn't
to
know
it.
about
So
the.
because like
I didn't
when
know
you start
about
to
the brow. I knew about the neck. I didn't know about the brow. So the brow and the neck.
yeah, well, it's not
Okay.
the brow. It's here. It's like on
Oh,
your
here.
nose.
Okay.
Like you got
Okay.
You
yeah.
hit your
So
hit
you
your
get
sinus
like an eye.
cavity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
washcloth.
I knew about the
You can
neck
like
because I've done that, especially for like air sickness and just it does something that pulls you out of the nausea or whatever.
Hmm.
Yeah, the vagus nerve,
yeah.
right?
Exactly. Like when you start to feel like you're going to faint, you get sort of
Yep.
hot. Well, I find I start to get hot and tingly here. So
Yeah.
Hmm.
if I that's the day when I fainted, I was thinking I needed a flannel or a washcloth to here, like just cold, and that would stop me from faint. And I think generally it does. If I'm near the kitchen, I can do it myself, or somewhere, But you got to get in there quick if you feel like you're gonna faint. So,
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
scary. I've never felt that way. That must be
yeah,
terrifying. That must be terrifying because, yeah, I mean,
I
the
don't
thought that
really
you
like
could
it,
lose
but I don't think
consciousness.
it's gonna come on.
Yeah.
Rick Spicer, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah, I
Rick.
I did cutting for a short time, and it was
Yeah.
mainly it was more logical. I mean, it wasn't. I appreciate what cutters, the problems that they have. In my case, it was really kind of a logical argument, and it was because I lost one of my friends, and I really didn't feel anything. And it's one of those things where we all grieve differently, and we will tend to grieve for each person differently. And it just didn't make sense to me though, because I mean, there was one girl in high school who, when she died, it hit me really hard. And I think it was because of the way I visualized her as being typical, well, not atypical, but how a lot of guys would tend to view girls as being completely innocent, good, not doing harm to anything. My friend, I mean, he was a soldier and he's in the Gulf War and everything, and I'm under no illusions of some of the things he had to do. So it could be at that level. But yeah, I tried to make myself grieve, and I just and I was sorry he was gone. I mean, I'm certainly wasn't happy about it, but um,
No.
not feeling grief, that one really kind of that started to concern me. And so, yeah, I engaged in that for a while to see if it would jumpstart something, and it really didn't.
To
And
try and
I guess,
feel something, because
yeah,
one of the trauma responses is completely numb.
yeah,
Is, I go numb for quite a while, and I mean, I guess I never went to the extreme of like thinking I need to feel something, so
mm,
let's, but I mean, I felt the complete and total numbness and
mm,
paralysis and feel of lack of
It's
total
there's
control.
the Johnny Cash song, and actually it's a Nine Inch Nails song. It's called "Hurt."
mm,
That's actually a good description of.
interesting.
Um, yeah, it's like I hurt myself today to see if I still bleed.
Uh,
Um, yeah, and it's like a focus on the pain. It's the only thing that's real, and it's kind of that's actually a really good description of what can happen at times. Because nothing feels real, so you have to sort of see: am I real? Am I really here? And um, I never really thought of it. I never related the two until recently when I heard. I was listening to this positivity thing when I was in hospital, and it was they had a whole bunch of different musicians like um, speaking about the process and their grief and pain and trauma and all that sort of stuff that goes into their specific songs. And one of
yeah.
them was Trent Reznor talking about that particular song and how he wrote it and what it meant for him. But he sort of released that song out into the world so it would mean something special to each person that heard it. And then when Johnny Cash wrote it,
Mm,
or not sang it, he was singing it at the end of his life, so it was a whole different meaning to it.
mm,
And it's a beautiful song, and it's it's really quite close. And the pain that you hear in both of their voices, different sort of singing, like Trent Reznor singing like a young person, I'm
mm,
angry at the world, whatever, you know, world's doing
Mhm.
me wrong, what's. But then Johnny Cash is at the end of his life talking about how you know he's done everything, and there's a different meaning. It's just different,
mm,
and just that's the way songs are anyway. Every songs mean different things at different times for different people. So,
mm,
but that's my way of communicating. I communicate through music. So if I like someone, I'll send them songs that I like that make me think of them. If I dislike them, I'll play songs that like that make me think of them too, which are not particularly nice.
Yeah.
Like I think who is it? I don't know. It starts with H, and he sings a song. Henry Rollins. He
oh
sings
yeah.
a song called. Yeah. So my
Mm,
ex, I played that like for an hour, really, really loud, and I was like singing it at him. You're a liar. But yeah. So I communicate through music, and I express my feelings through music a lot, and it helps release it, knowing
mm,
that someone out there probably feels the same,
mm,
because someone's singing about it. So there must be.
yeah.
It's not just me. So that actually helps put things into perspective. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure if that's what it's meant to do, but I'm a logic person. So I work
Mm,
on logic over feelings. So if something that I'm feeling can be worked through logic, it makes me feel better.
It
mm,
seems like music would access the other half of your brain, the non-logical part, the artistic
Most,
part of your brain. Yeah,
mm,
to
mm,
engage the artistic part, which mine is. I don't have much of an artistic part of my brain, um, but because I have no artistic ability whatsoever. Like, but so I probably need to do more of that. Um,
Everybody is an artist in their own way. I believe
mm,
that. Say if you are really good at cooking is an art. They make books out of that. If you're
mm,
really good at gardening, that's an art. There's an art. Everything is art. Life is art, as far as I'm concerned. If you've got any type
mm,
of skill, it's artistry. It's an
uh,
artistry.
I mean, I've always been a professional student. Like, if I'm doing not so well in my life, go back to school. Like,
Mm.
I got my degree in accounting, completely like the illogical side. Then I went
So
back
you
to
make
school,
learning that.
became a massage therapist. That's the completely other side of it.
Wow.
Um,
Wow. Damn.
yeah. So, in a way, that's more the artistic side of the brain, and then more the using the empathetic part of me, but
Mm.
also very draining to somebody who's an empath.
Yeah.
To I didn't really. I found I didn't have the capability to block myself doing massage because, like, you pick up on so many other
Oh
people,
yeah.
some of the other
Oh,
people's
and I
stuff.
didn't think of that. I bet you would, especially with that
Yeah.
physical contact on top of everything else.
For an
Wow.
entire hour. I mean, how
Yeah.
many other? I mean, no, what doctor like has that much contact with you for an hour of?
Mm.
They don't. They might do a few things, and
Yeah.
but for an entire hour, hour and a half of doing nothing but kind of giving an exchange of energy, it's exhausting. And
Mm.
I mean, I didn't do it for very long. It was just I did it kind of part time for a while, but it was very, very interesting about a lot of trauma and different things held in every cell of the body. There's cellular memory that
Mm.
you can be doing a massage on somebody and they can have an emotional outburst. Just
Mm.
um, and they just kind of train us that just can be it can be normal because
Yeah.
that part of their body might have been holding some past trauma, and and that might be why part of the reason they're there for the massage to begin with is for that. you
Yeah.
know
And I know that is
Well,
something they
that's
were
really
talking
interesting.
about. Hmm.
Different. I
Go
mean,
ahead.
it was
I was going to
sorry.
say it's
Yeah.
really interesting because I saw my physio yesterday and had a massage, and then for the rest of the day I was really, really emotional. So I'm wondering if that
Yeah,
released something somewhere.
it
Mm.
it it can certainly.
I've got tight clips. I'm holding it in my
Yeah,
butt.
if you can afford to get a massage, I mean, get a massage as much as you can afford. It is one of the most beneficial things you can do for yourself, your whole mind, body, spirit kind of thing.
Mm.
Um, but somehow it's something I never even have time for, even if I have the money, which I don't. But it is one of the most beneficial things. Like, from what I understood, Bob Hope used to get a massage every single day.
Mm.
Um, and just, but it's just so, and like her explaining that she felt very emotional after it can do that, and it's different things. Most of the time, I just want a deep tissue, hurt me kind of massage because I have so much physical
Mm.
pain
Yeah.
that I just want the really deep tissue. But every once in a while, I'll be in so much pain. I just kind of want the not often do I want the sweetest, just kind of feel good, kind of mushy massage. I want the hurt me so good.
Mm. Sure.
have
Yeah, I do.
you have you had massages?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I typically go in. I tend to go more in for chiropractic adjustments.
Hmm.
I've tried also acupuncture
Hmm.
to help
I've
with
done that too.
yeah, that I found to be very. I find them all to be very interesting, very different, but yeah, it was actually kind of fascinating. A fascinating experience. Um,
Hmm.
but I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh yeah, I know that when they do gut healing on people, a lot of times people are when they're getting their gut health, starting to get it back, whatever.
Hmm.
That a lot of times it will release a lot of sorrow, guilt, and that kind of thing. And
Right.
it's so fascinating for me to see that happens, and it happens, and it's well known to happen in massage therapy. The vulgar unwashed might call them massages. We call them massages because, yeah, sorry, couldn't help it. Oh,
And the vulgar, is that like the happy ending massages? I don't know.
oh my gosh. Oh,
Yeah, I couldn't deal with the sexual aspect of it either. So that was a big thing too. Like the people that if there's if that's what you want, then there's places to go for that, and I don't even have a problem with that. But don't don't ask it of me. Like it's
mm,
just yeah. I don't even understand why it's illegal,
mm,
but I lived in Nevada where it was legal, although not in the city of Las Vegas, where I worked at New York for a while doing massage, and
mm.
um, and I liked it because it was women working on women and men working on men. So you didn't really. I mean,
Sure.
I know that women probably could do that, but a woman never did that to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and I have known men that has happened to from women, but it never
Mm,
happened to me with a woman. So just my experience.
mm.
So, boy,
Oh,
I think Roxy needs a meeting. Do you think
the cute doggy.
she needs a
Uh,
meeting so bad?
mm. They
Oh,
are making homeless mental addiction. Oh, interesting. Hmm. Yeah, let
oh,
us know how that goes, Awakened. Or Ned. Awake Ned, I think is how Tara would always pronounce it.
awakened Ned.
Yeah, she kept calling it Awake Ned. And then she finally figured out that it's awakened.
Really, she
But,
didn't know.
yeah, but by that
I
time the name
wondered
had
how it
stuck.
became Ned.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
wondered how it became Ned.
Tara's a good soul. I really do like her. But yeah, that was always kind of funny. Uh,
I
Well,
honestly do that as well. That's why I can't read graffiti because it's a picture.
mm,
It takes me ages to figure out what the word says. And once I get told, I'm like, oh, I'm so silly. But
mm.
with names, if it's or even hashtags, it's like Susan Boyle's new music. That's that or new music party. Oh no, something like that. It ended up being Susan Boyle anal party or something like that. It was pretty funny.
Mm,
but,
oh, okay.
but that's
I
how
know.
you see that. That's what people see because they don't break up the words properly, or they
Oh,
see, you know, yeah. So I think it's pretty funny. But I always pronounce stuff wrong
funny.
because I'm more of a reader than a, I always read more than I watched TV. Um, so I read phonetically, so everything is, I say it all wrong because until I
Right.
hear it, like parable was parabole in my head for ages. Because that was my favorite words because it was funny, like parabole. Turns out it's not a weird word.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah, there's been so many words. And I keep running into that. I'll be reading a paper, and it's a word I've heard a million times. And it just, because of more technical papers, especially things dealing with neurochemistry, it's like, oh my gosh, I don't remember how to pronounce this. I had a friend that once said, where's Bogota? And I kept getting, it wasn't Bogota, but she kept saying Bogota. It's like, no, it's not
Oh,
Bogota. It's and I
Bogota.
and I
Yeah.
got my brain so programmed. It's Bogota. I couldn't say Bogota. It's kind of like that. Now I'll get a lot of these terms in my head, and it's like, oh my gosh, don't even try to say it. Just say there's a word for it that does this, and just move on because
That's
It's
how
like
I am when I'm reading. When I'm reading, I sometimes go over words and it's like, well, I don't know how to say that, which means I don't know how to think it either. But
yeah.
okay, that's what it looks
in context, you kind of get what it says though. Like
like.
um, that's why it's important to context is always really important because you change things or grammar. I think we've
Mm,
spoken about this before, like eat kids, and then you put a apostrophe in the middle. It's like eat kids. Everything changes intonation and all that sort of stuff. And I'm
Right.
finding that that's one of my things is communication.
mm,
That's where I think I kind of go down a little bit. Like I have high comprehension skills. I get stuff, but
Hmm.
my communication is not always on par with my comprehension level because I'll get stuck on something and that's what I think they're saying because that's what it came across in the beginning. and then they'll keep going, but I'm still stuck on what I thought it was. So I've taken things out of context. I think I get context wrong. So that's why I ask a lot of questions, and I need people to be very clear and use the right words in the right way.
And yeah, English is very difficult because you have some words they mean completely different things. You say the same thing. They're all spelled differently. They, there, steak. I mean, there's so many, two. I mean, yeah, there's, so many different, and that's very difficult for non-English speak, like, they don't understand that. Like in Spanish, there's not a lot of that. And you pronounce every syllable, like you were saying. You pronounce every syllable, every syllable, instead of like, oh yeah, it's silent here. You don't pronounce it there. Well, I mean, what's it
it's
there?
Like you guys say, was it oregano and herb?
Yeah.
And we say oregano, herb.
Do you say herb? You say herb?
I say herb. Yeah, I say herb.
Yeah.
It's like Dave Dobbin and the
there's
herbs.
many differences. And
What
when
about
I would go to England, there would be so many differences. There's like a lot of communication issues that you're like, wow, I don't even speak English. I speak American. I don't speak English, so
Well, I also there's a bit of miscommunication between me and Australians, and also Kiwis, because I'm Kiwi, but I grew up in Australia. So depending on my mood and who I'm talking to, like if I'm talking to a Kiwi, my voice gets particularly more Kiwi for a while. Like my flat housemate was a Kiwi, so I got a bit worse as far as my accent was concerned. So when I talk to my Aussie mates, I'll say something like a pin or a pin, and they get confused as to what I'm saying. So I have to enunciate it in an Australian way. Like I guess there's a word six, and when I first came to Australia, people used to try and get me all the time because I used to say six, and they used to think that was hilarious. So I learned how to count differently, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's one word I can say.
7, 8, 9, 10.
I can say that word in my brain. I cannot say it with my mouth. And then
See an enemy.
And I just cannot. Yeah.
So what's the word enemy?
An enemy. It's like a sea little waving sea anemones.
It's what clownfish. They have a what do you call it? A cyber.
That's forever on the internet. I just realized. Being an enemy.
Finding Nemo. He's hiding in sea.
Anemones.
That word.
Enemy.
Yeah. I can't even pronounce it. I can hear it in my brain, but
I don't know why I can. I don't know where that came from.
I'm pretty good at aping. Like I can pretty much repeat what somebody else says.
I think that's the thing. Yeah, and I actually kind of have to repeat what things say. Like if something's interesting in my head, it does this little buzz, which I only figured out recently because I tried really hard to not. It's called echolalia. See, I can't pronounce everything. But it's where I kind of have to repeat things that I find interesting, like words I like hearing the sound of, or even things I don't really like. Like, the word that describes cake. Starts with M. I really hate that word. It gives me a visceral feeling like, ugh, like that. It gives me the ick. And but there's words that I really, really like parabole, which turns out not to be a word, but that gives me like a nice warm sensation. Like it's words. They're important to me. So when I'm talking to someone, I'm not just hearing what they're saying; I'm feeling it. Especially sometimes it's in context. Yeah. So, but if they say something that's interesting, I have to repeat it, and if I don't repeat it, it's like the buzz gets louder and louder and louder until it's like I have to say it out loud.
Wow, that's fascinating.
And it happens with songs too. So if someone's there's a song lyric, I have to repeat it. Like I have to finish the song lyric. If I don't, it's going to be in my head all day.
I remember a certain Bacon Beds person that was putting song lyrics into everyone's head for days.
What? Tin roof rusted.
bang,
Oh
bang.
God. Love Shack, baby.
Love Shack.
Oh,
Love Shack. Love Shack.
that song is so bad to get stuck in my head. I swear. I don't know what it is.
See, I prefer rock
I
lobster.
don't know what it is about that song, but yeah, it just. Huh, let's see. Uh, yeah, I've never audio processing disorder. Huh. But yeah, I
Uh,
just can't.
what is
I
auto processing disorder? I mean, you know what I found? I learn better, like, because if I'm studying, if I say it out loud, if I hear it, write it, and say it, it's stuck in my brain a lot more because it's different areas of the brain for sure. So, and yeah, I'm admitting I talk to myself, and but it helps me learn. It
mm,
helps me remember. It helps me learn. It's a
Well,
different part of the brain. But then writing is a completely different part of the brain, and so that's where I need the discipline to journal the way
mm.
Tommy is constantly like banging it into your brain.
Mm.
Journal, 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 journal.
Yeah.
but there's something in it though, because they say that you have to do things multiple times for it to stick in your head. So if you're saying it out loud and writing it, and reading it or something, then it kind of stays in more. And apparently, if you have a nap after you learn something new, it will stay in there more because it's like sleeping actually helps you process stuff in your brain. So apparently, after learning something deep, you're supposed to have a nap, and it sticks in
Yeah,
your
it'll
brain a bit
help it
better.
move from the hippocampus to the neocortex, help it go from the short term to long term memory and things
Does
like
it?
that. I
Oh,
still like what the CIA, I wish they would do what the CIA does. Uh, that Andrew Bustamante guy, he's an ex spy. I took some training from him just because it sounded interesting,
hmm.
but it was really fascinating.
Take some
They
countries.
teach, apparently the CIA, when they teach you things, they don't teach you things like we do in college where you go through an entire chapter then you have a test. Like, no, they teach you one simple concept because they need you to get it down. One something really simple, then you go and you do it multiple times. Like, and I can't remember. He labeled some examples like how to throw a ball. They'll tell you, here's how you throw a ball. Hold your hand like this. Do it. No, go out. Hold your hand. Hold the ball. Hold it. Hold it. Okay, now do it again. Now do it again. Now do it again. Now okay, now we're going to throw it. Okay, take your arm and do this, and they'll have them, and they just over and over and over again. But they call it just in time learning, and it's
Uh,
not so much. It's not so much necessarily meant physical things, but they'll have you do it memorize concepts, things like that. Okay, now today we're going to learn what was it? Audio processing disorder. Say audio processing disorder. Now say it again. Now say it again. Now here's what it is, and they'll have them run. They'll run through a list of because apparently it's basically something to do with like almost hard of hearing, but telling where sounds are coming from. You have problems doing that. Problems paying attention. Problems reading and spelling learning a new language. But if they were learning that, they would say one symptom and have now repeat it back. Okay, now next symptom is now repeat it back, and it's like that's kind of fascinating. I wonder why schools don't do.
Is that like rote
Yeah,
learning?
I think it is. I think it's like just getting you to repeat it, but trying to jam it in your head as much as possible instead of okay, class, today we're going to read, we'll go through, read chapters 4 through 8 for me. Then we'll do a test. And of course, the test is like, you know, 3 or 4 things out of that entire, what's the rest?
I really liked it when you're allowed the book still in the test because
Yeah.
I'll just be like, so it's just about remembering where the information is rather about remembering the information. It's one of the things I love about Google. I'm constantly Googling stuff because I forget it. But to make sure before I talk to somebody about it, I'll go Google it and
oh,
then
hey, Kenneth.
then I
Yeah.
can talk about it right there. So hi, Kenneth. But yeah, because we do rote learning over here as far as
Mm.
well, we did the numbers times table and all that sort of stuff. You repeat them over and over and over and over again. And I sometimes wonder whether or not that's really an
Mm.
effective way of teaching people stuff, is stuff that's
Uh-oh.
boring. Like if they made it more interesting, teach
Oh, yeah,
algebra in
I
a
see
way
what
like,
you're saying.
it's about, yeah, like, A plus B equals C, and you can go, okay, this product plus this product equals this amount of money, and that there is algebra. So we do algebra every day in real life. Thanks, teachers. But we just don't know that we're doing it. It's something that we don't know that we're doing it, but it's there. It's something that's, inbuilt. And I don't even know if you even need to
Hmm.
be taught algebra to know that A plus B equals C. Then it comes into deeper concepts, You add more products, more algebra, then it's just, there's so much about life that is math that we don't
Hmm.
realize, and we can make it a lot more interesting by incorporating real life into
Hmm.
classrooms. I guess they try, but I always got stuck on, how is someone going to carry 12 watermelons home? I don't care what their name is. I don't care how many, if one to their neighbor, and then how many is left.
Oop.
Oh, there she.
Uh,
Oops.
let's see here. Hey. It's not autofilling. Hey, Kenneth, if you want to join in, there's a link there. Uh-oh.
Yeah, come on up. Come on
Oh.
down. Like the price is.
But yeah, you don't have to use your cam. You can leave your
Yeah.
cam off, or if you don't have a cam, that's fine. But yeah, if anybody wants to join in, there's the link. Um, but yeah, I wonder about the effectiveness of our learning system. I do see that they identified several different types of learning, and I tend to be what they call a kinesthetic. You learn by doing, but that of course now educators are saying, "Oh, that's not accurate," and we need to. So now they're pushing back against that even, but who knows what they'll find next?
Well, everything's so individual, and that's
Yeah.
so hard to put out to the masses, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
because I mean that's very. I mean, in an ideal world, everything would be set up for you and the way you learn, and
Yeah.
that would be the ideal way. I mean, I was
Yeah.
fortunate in that I was pretty able to sit in class, listen, and just be able to pass the test from that. As long as I listened and paid attention in class, I didn't have to do a lot of homework.
Mm.
I hated the classes where you had to do homework and they graded your homework,
Oh gosh, yeah.
like because then I would have to do the homework. And I was actually fortunate that I had when I was in lower elementary school and learning the basic math, I had a dad that would just sit with me every night and teach me math. And, and I obviously specialized for me. So he would do it every night. And, a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that
Mm.
social system or somebody that's going to sit with them every night and make sure, and then by the time I got to third or fourth grade, I was good. By the time I got there, I had the basics down, and and so I didn't have the math difficulties, but I did initially,
Mm.
but I had somebody that spent the time, and that's unfortunate in today's world that a lot of people don't have that kind of time to spend, or
Mm.
don't have dads that stick around, or moms
Yeah.
that stick around, or anyone that sticks around. So
Mm.
that's
Yeah. Yeah. That is. And that was. It amazes me. One of the things that was brought up was one of the things that Tommy keeps drumming, journaling. But it was fascinating to me. I did some reading earlier, and studying on ADHD, and there was a multitude of things that they were talking about. But one of them was basically people with ADHD. They don't necessarily recognize, and there's a bunch of reasons for this, but they don't necessarily recognize the feelings that they're feeling. They just feel like, I feel like there's pressure on me. Well, they don't realize that this pressure they're feeling is actually, pick something else. It could be anger. It could be, they're feeling sad about something, feeling disappointed, sadness. They're feeling all these feelings, but they tend to not realize they're operating out of anger or depression or whatever. And that they found that when people are having a negative emotion, uh, in this case, they were talking about eating. That normally a normal kid could eat like one cookie. He have like 5 units of hunger, and that'd be like 5 units of satisfaction. His brain would trigger. Okay, you're happy now. But that when you're having a negative emotion, that's doubled. Like okay, now I
Super.
have 10 units of craving, and I'm only getting half the amount of satisfaction. So that means I have to eat 4 times. And if you're neurodivergent or if you're ADHD, that's doubled again. And it's like, holy crap. But the ultimate cure for it, what they were discussing was journaling. It's becoming aware of your feelings, and that journaling is really good. Helps you unpack, and just doing that daily emotional inventory, that it can really help you and keep you out of that headspace. And it's like, oh crap, this means
I
I have to
know.
keep doing it because I'm so tired of typing all the time.
I know.
I
I pressure
actually remember
myself to
something.
write. I feel writing is better for me with journaling because it's a
Mm,
different part of the brain than typing.
yeah,
But then I find that I can't read my writing. So
yeah.
my writing's so awful, and I'm so I can't even. I should have been a doctor. I really.
Oh yeah, and especially when you're asked to write early morning and before you go to bed. Both times you're tired. My handwriting is chicken scratches to begin with.
It
You
is.
get me when I first wake up. Blah, 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 blah. Holy crap. Okay, it says dolphins squawk when eating ice cream. Okay, that makes perfect sense. I don't know what it says.
I know exactly. I know that I can't read it, and I'm like, well, maybe I don't have to read it. Maybe the info dump is enough. I put it out. It's in my brain. My brain is crazy, and so
Hmm.
so my crazy brain is writing this. So okay, I can leave that over here. I don't know.
Oh my
I love
gosh.
different fonts, Misha. I loved wingdings back in the day. I'd write in wingdings.
Had me learn algebra. Oh gosh, first period. Oh, that would suck. First thing, algebra. I don't care what year it was. No, no, flipping no. Oh my
Well, my
god.
freshman year it was biology first period, and that was my dissecting a frog. Oh my gosh,
We
what did I
dissected
learn?
cane codes.
What did
We
I
had to bring in
learn
a
from
cane
that?
code from home.
Yeah.
Hmm.
College was a lot better, I will say. College was a lot better because you could do your own schedule.
Hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely, I like college a lot better than I couldn't handle the schedule at high school was much too rigid, and college you could design your own schedule that fits with you. So I agree with that.
Hmm. Well, yeah, yeah. You're able to. Yeah, I want math maybe right before lunch, but yeah, yeah, that would help a great deal. High school, yeah, you're screwed. I
Yeah,
miss
I
I
almost didn't make it. Yeah, because of that. Yeah, the early morning was hard.
I miss when fonts used to be pretty big for a while. I mean, you used to be able to go find, and they were easy to install. I don't know, they may still be for all I know.
You see,
Awakened.
I liked Comic Sans. I never understood the hate for Comic Sans because it was so smooth and nice looking. But if you wrote in Comic Sans, you were like the biggest loser ever. Especially if your what is it? Your resumes in Comic Sans, it was an instant nah in the no pile. I liked it. So, but anyway, I have to get going. I've got to start my day. So
Yep.
I added here. So I love you guys, and I'll see you next when I'm looking at you.
Love
Oh,
you, Cosmic. Nice seeing you.
take care, Cosmic. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know Bird. Yeah, he's telling me all about it now. I don't know what he's telling me, but he's
He
telling
needs
me
a
it.
meeting too. He needs a meeting. Like
Yeah.
my dog desperately needed a meeting today. Like not leaving me alone. So,
and
oh,
I miss looking at fonts and finding like, oh, this is a great font. And of course, you're never able to use it on anything. At least I'm not. But yeah. Oh well, does everybody feel like they've had a meeting, or if anybody has anything you want to they need to talk about, please just put a 2 in the chat or 3. No, yeah, if you have something you want to discuss, hit a 2 in the chat. If you're feeling good, then yeah, then put a 3. Yeah, I remember Carol Bird. Of course, when I finally turned her on and the bird was chattering away, every time you say bird, he would just shut up and like, don't look at me. It's coming from the computer. He'd be like scowling at me. Like, gee whiz. Anyone touch with Carol? She made a video
mhm.
2 days ago where she
Yeah,
looks like she's doing a lot better.
yeah.
Um, I think her the place she's in or the stuff she's going through. I think it's going to be a couple weeks. Um, so yeah, she's trying to go through this training, and I keep calling it training therapy, but
Yeah, it's
really,
therapy.
when you
There's nothing wrong with
get down to
therapy.
it,
That's
yeah,
not wrong.
it's
And she
therapy.
called it therapy. It's
Yeah,
outpatient therapy. It's
yeah,
intensive outpatient therapy. And that's
I
okay.
honestly call it training because it's training you, where you're, because you have. I guess therapy. I always think of more of EMDR and specific things,
Uh,
tests and things like that. But
well,
yeah, therapy. Um,
I mean, to me, therapy is more like a catch-all. It can be massage therapy. It can be
mm,
just, there's so many different kinds of therapy.
yeah,
Hydrotherapy, which is water therapy.
yeah,
Which was kind of what Cosmic was talking about. Hydrotherapy, going from hot to cold to hot to cold. Like
mm,
that, the hydrotherapy.
yeah,
There's all different kinds of therapy. But training is cool too.
yeah,
Training seems to me more technical. Yeah, but
yeah, yeah. And I think I know where I adopted that views because when I had my big thing where I put myself into a treatment center, that was more training because they kept you busy. I don't know if they. I know there's probably a gazillion reasons why they do it. I don't know what the overall one was, other than something nebulous like for your well being. But yeah, they kept us in constant. Here's the parts of the brain, and now we're going to talk about this is how depression works, and here's the chemicals involved. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to come here to get help, and my arms are hurting so much. Why are you making me right? Woe is me. Let my people go. Oh, Pharaoh. Um, yeah. Who was it who said that? Not Jack Nicholson. Come on. Oh, Moses, who was Charlton
Charlton
Heston.
Heston.
Yeah,
We said
Charlton
it at the same
Heston
time.
is Moses.
We said it at the same time. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Gosh, now we're showing how old we are. So,
Yeah. God. Oh
so
my.
well,
So
are you
how?
going to be? So I have a question. Are you going to be doing the meetings the same way, same time, Monday through Friday, everything?
I'm trying to find out when the best time is and all that. I was going to have them all at the same time, just for consistency,
Hmm.
kind of keep the ball rolling. Um,
I see
but
some people haven't found it because
yeah,
there's people that don't come to the lifeboat. I don't like just Shell, one with cats. She usually comes almost every day. Black cat. I don't know. I don't even know where she comes from.
mm,
Um, like, because I've never seen her on the lifeboat.
yeah,
But I don't know. I don't know how to. I can contact Shell. I'm friends with her on Facebook, so I can contact her. So that's
Shell.
why I was
Yeah,
wondering if I should. Yeah. if I should
I'm.
contact her and just let her know it's probably going to be, you're going to try and keep the consistency Monday through Friday for now.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I was beginning to wonder if I should even hold these, but um, I guess with the
I
response I
think it's
got
good.
today,
I
yeah,
think it's good. I think we need it, especially with everything that's just everything that everybody's been going through. And
mm,
everybody's been going through so much. And poor Christy and poor Carol. And like, you know,
it's really odd. You see that around Christmas time, it seems like everybody's doing worse. Everybody, I mean, almost
me,
globally.
I'm awful at Christmas.
But
That's
but yeah,
devastating.
but at this time of year, it's like
Why? But
half people are doing really good, the other half are doing really bad. It's like you have this bifurcation where it's just wow. But
well, in the southern states, we're miserably hot.
yeah.
So, maybe up north they're miserably cold in the winter. But the holidays always it just seems like you should be so merry, and there's so
Mhm.
much pressure to be merry. It's just like, why
Oh
am
yeah.
I not merry? How come I'm not merry? I want to be merry.
Well,
So this is like every place you go, Merry Christmas. Well, yeah, yeah, okay, Merry. Oh yeah, I'm merry. Aren't you merry? Yeah.
yeah, pretty soon Mary's going to when's Mary going to be Karen? I mean, how did poor Karen get Karen? I don't get
I
it, but
don't know. I'm glad my name isn't Karen.
they could have at least picked like Eunice or Buell or I don't know,
Yeah,
something like that.
Karen sounds much more wasp,
Huh.
much white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Hmm.
I don't know if people use that term wasp anymore, but it's like sounds more
Hmm.
wasp, and it's more of a pejorative, I suppose.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah,
Yeah, whatever
but
happened to Gertrude or oh.
I think Gertrude because there's I think Gertrude or Bertha. Have a Bertha.
Bertha, yeah. Oh,
That should work. So,
well, y'all, thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you for coming on, Shannon. Appreciate it. I do hope you
Thanks
have
for
yourself
doing
a.
this. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you so much. I do hope everybody has a great day.
Yes.
And
You have a great day. I'm going to get off, and you have a
oh,
great day. I'll let you do your outro.
don't um uh. No, I actually do have an outro, but yeah, Guido. I can do Guido. I had a friend we used to call him Guido. I think we what was the movie Risky? I think it was in Risky Business. Guido the Killer Pimp. That's what we named him after. But oh my goodness. Well, I do hope everybody's having a great day. Um, I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope everybody's able to keep whatever battles they're going through. If they're able, I hope everybody's victorious in them. It's not. That sounds so churchy to say it like that, but I do hope everybody is doing well with whatever we call it challenges they're going through. You people all take care, and as let's see here, if I can hit the button. As Carol would say, peace, y'all. If I can find the button, there it is.